Hi, I'm here with Jenny Smith, manager for a retail store in town. Jenny has moved from a sales position to an assistant manager to a full manager over the course of her career in sales, and she has been very wonderful in letting me interview her and ask her some questions about her leadership styles as well as her beliefs in management in general. So first off, thank you, Jenny, for taking the time. One of the first questions that I think most people always have to ask leaders and managers is always, what is your opinion on the most important characteristics that a leader can have? What is your opinion on that?
Well, I work for a wireless company, which is communications. So therefore, I would definitely say it all revolves around communication and making sure that there's a nice open flow between all the different levels, whether it's me being able to coach down to my reps and give them advice, or if my reps have advice that they would like to give to me or to be passed on to a higher level, so that way we keep ideas constantly growing. It's a relatively new industry, so it is good, and it's constantly changing, so it's always good to get insight and feedback from people on the front lines.
That would definitely tie into a communication company. Given that, I think I know your answer to this next question. Most management theorists agree that there's three general areas that managers need to focus on: human skills, conceptual skills, and technical skills. I think I know where you're going to go with this, but of those three areas, where do you think managers should focus on? What do you think are the most important skills?
Definitely human skills.
That was my guess.
The reason I think that's important for me and for my team, our biggest focus is being able to connect with people, to connect with customers and make sure that they're getting the right products. They feel that we're really listening, and therefore there's like an open trust between everyone. So for my reps, I think it's important that it's a human connection, as well as for me, it's important that my reps feel like there's a human bond between us, and so that we're all working as a team towards one goal, as opposed to a bunch of members on individual goals.
Okay, I guessed right. That's good. Now, to speak to your skills specifically, the four areas of leading: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Of those four areas, where do you see your strengths lying?
My strength would be around organizing. Some of the organizing aspects I would do would be revolved around, developing contests to help increase sales, and also help increase just kind of motivation and good spirits within the store. Also being able to predict some scheduling issues around big things that come up, like back to school or holidays. So be able to kind of see big picture of the company and what our needs are in this area. And so I'd say organizing.
Okay. Now, conversely, where do you think your weaknesses in those four might lie?
My weakness would probably be in just the day-to-day leading of the sales staff. But kind of as a way to to compensate for that, I have a really strong assistant store manager who's kind of more of a general manager of the sales floor. He does a very good job of being able to work side by side and kind of help develop and coach with the reps and get involved in those transactions, so that he can oversee those and do development with them.
Okay. How do you combat, or how do you focus and work towards making that leading aspect into more of a strength?
We are constantly going through different trainings to kind of help work on that, and then some things that my assistant manager and I do, just because we know where the other person's strengths are, and as a way of developing him for the next step, and also just developing me in my current position. Sometimes we'll kind of flip those roles for a week or a couple days or whatever, just to try it out, just so we can see. So he gets to learn a little bit more of the big picture of the store, and I spend a little bit more time focusing on the one-on-one individualization with the reps.
Interesting. I mentioned it earlier, but you moved from store rep to assistant manager in the same store, I believe, and then from store assistant manager to store manager, I believe, at another location. How was the transition up that ladder, especially to the store where you were in the same location as you were advancing. How did you handle that?
Transitioning from a position within the same store can often be very, very difficult. When I took the position from a sales rep, I actually briefly moved into a position that was a senior sales position. When I was in that position, my store manager did a very good job of prepping me towards that next step. So she was already developing me for the assistant manager in that store. She would delegate some authority down to me on aspects that are normally handled by an assistant manager, and would also kind of advise the sales reps to go to me if they had questions, as opposed to always going to the manager. So that kind of kept opened up the line of communication where the reps already were looking at me into a leadership position. So it wasn't as awkward of a transition when I finally moved it to the assistant manager.
So transitioning the transition, there's something to be learned there. That makes sense. Well, Jenny, thank you very much for taking the time. I appreciate it, and good luck.